So the new MECH Solis is here. It's going to be coming very soon. It is a legendary support mech with 32 maximum energy, actually. I have it at rank 5 now because I'm actually going to play it like this, with 24 energy, with a bunch of different 12 energy weapons. Because, yeah, I don't necessarily want to just do it max immediately. This is what the stats look like. No special perk when you max it, so that's nice, but I will be maxing mine pretty much immediately on the live server. So yeah. Very interesting. The HP, I'd like to note, the HP is that of a Redox, incredibly brittle. The speed is like Gatecrasher speed, Panther speed. Optic Override ability. Throws an orb which applies the blind effect on impact, overriding the vision of enemies within radius. Blinded mechs are unable to see and can't use weapons or abilities that require a target lock, so it basically forces anyone with lock-on weapon or ability to, stop doing what they're doing. The blind effect duration is 3 seconds. Cooldown is 8 seconds, but you have 2 of them. So it's like Cheetah. It won't go into cooldown until you throw both of them. So there is that. I did a bunch of testing on this mech with Red and Sentry, so go check out their videos if you want a testing video. But I didn't want to be redundant and to make a third one saying the same thing, so yeah, here I am. The kind of terrifying thing about this mech is that the blind effect, it's blinding. This is what it looks like. Is actually kind of crazy, and yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It could be potentially like really terrible for people's eyes, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. Hopefully it proves to either be fine or they change it. I don't know. At very least, I hope they never give it to bots. But anyway, let's get into some matches with some different weapons, starting off with Stormwreck. Okay, so yeah, the Mech Arena map is officially reverted. Just blind you. I have infinite range, same as anything else. Worth noting, I can't do it through an Aegis Dome, along with many of the other things we tested. That was one of them. An interesting fact, though, is that it actually fires the orb from the side. You see the little orbs that are following me? It fires it from the left and from the right in sequence. Which is very good to know, because I can be like here and throw it. Well, if I had skill. I could do it from the left and throw it. There were some interesting bugs that me and Sentry found. You're going to have to watch this video. I'm not going to spoil anything. But yeah, it's some strange stuff, I won't lie. But this has a radius of 15 meters at base, and then there's an implant to increase the radius by 50%, which is kind of crazy. Whether or not it's going to be useful, I don't know. Like, this could very well just be another, like, worthless support mech. Like, one of those things that you could use, but nobody really does. And who knows, it's like another Hemlock, but support mechs are nice. I always like them, because it's the sort of thing that people don't spam because it's a support mech, but it is very good to have it in your team. Needless to say, as you could probably tell, it is incredibly effective against bots. They simply stop knowing what to do. Like, they just stand there, essentially. They don't know what to do with it. I'm gonna die. Alright, got Disruptor 12s on here. I'll put my build up for you to see. This mech has 2 mech-specific implants. There is the Radius one that I talked about, and a ability cooldown, same as like what Seeker has, which is weird and entirely pointless. So yeah, that's about it as far as that goes. Please stop. Yeah, okay. Oops. You may have noticed a bug. Or maybe it's a feature, who knows? Something that we discovered. But I'll leave you to that. I can't imagine Disruptor's going to be great as far as weapons go, just because I think what you're looking for on this is range. You're basically a redox, keep in mind. Even though you might think, okay, 32 energy. That's well, at max anyway. You know, it's crazy DPS. So I have really high energy capacity, decent speed, and an ability that's going to flashbang the ever-living crap out of you. However, I am as brittle as it gets. And ow! You will die very quickly. I'm using Podgun 12 now. Once again, put the build up for you to see. I think Podgun might be a decent one. The guided feature might help, who even knows. I think in a lot of cases, this thing should probably be used with more direct fire weapons, even though the ability can blind enemies en masse, right? In a radius. The ability has a radius, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is best used, best paired with a radius weapon. Is it gonna kill him? I don't think so. I'm gonna die though. Ow! I think Sentry put it best while we were testing. And he basically said that this thing is forced to play as a support. If you try to play it solo, you're just dead. It doesn't survive. And, you know, that's kind of how a support should be, I suppose. Here I got Railgun. Put my build up once again. I have the Radius Implant. Just because I don't really think cooldown or duration is really necessary here. Get them. Yeah, see, I mean, obviously it's Railgun, but the more direct fire damage, I think, really helps. For the most part, you're still blinding a single enemy, right? Which means that you want the DPS to take out a single enemy, at very least. Where is... there we go. Blind that guy. Really short cooldown. Of course, I have the cooldown implant on here. But, yeah, it's going to be an absolute pain to fight. But as I said, in a 1v1, with bots anyway, I don't think it would be super useful. In, like, a legitimate 1v1 or, like, 2v2 game mode, I think this thing's going to be terrifying. You may have just seen something very strange there. You're gonna have to watch Sentry's video to figure out what it was if you didn't catch it, though. Ouch, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Now, I hate to see it, but it is very possible that this becomes yet another EM rifle platform. I'm not sure if people would actually, like, replace their Panthers or whatever with a Solis, though. Not sure that's entirely practical. Lots of damage, though. Good kill power, you know, if I can hit my shot. Wow. That's unfortunate. Don't hit me, don't hit me. Okay, there we go. Easy enough. Yeah, aiming into nothing. Apparently bugs is anything. Oh, no. There we go. I feel like I'm gonna... Yeah, okay. Wacko, you go that way. You go that way. Ow! Alright, trying out the beams. No idea if it's gonna work. Got maximum range on here though, so hopefully this becomes a good beam mech. I'm gonna have a freaking field day. I'm telling ya, there are not very many good beam mechs. But it doesn't seem bad. Well, at least against bots. You gotta keep in mind, this is sort of a bot farming mech, but also not really a solo play mech. So it's like specific to when you're playing with teammates, but against bots, which is, you know, a very weird and specific situation, of course. Is it overall going to be better to just use an Orion? I think so, yeah, probably. I mean, that is typically the case, and I don't really have any reason to believe it won't continue to be. Like, what is Solis if not, like, another Hemlock, essentially? Where, yeah, sure, it allows... Oh, I might be dead. It allows your allies the time. It provides them a better opportunity for killing enemies. Whereas Orion just boosts the crap out of your damage. Like, I feel like just boosting your damage like that has got to just be better, you know? It's like the old, before the Great Update, before Surge got a massive, massive buff, it was basically the Killshot versus Surge argument, where it's like, you know, what's better? To stun someone so that you can deal damage, or to just straight up deal the damage? Straight up dealing the damage is probably just better. And I can't imagine this is going to be too different. Although, few things to note. A few very specific and important notes. I am marked. That's not good. Ow. The most notable differences between Solis and Hemlock are, well, first off, you know, there's stats. So Solis is definitely losing in terms of stats. It is slower and has less HP. Although the energy is a bit higher, which is really nice, right? For a support mech, that's not too bad. But also, in terms of the ability, it is worth mentioning that unique to Solis, this thing does have 2 charges, which makes it much easier to get multiple enemies. And it has AoE, which makes it even easier to get multiple enemies while these Scorpius bots are not messing around. Please stop. So essentially, it is a mass support, crowd control. You know, yet another thing that discourages grouping together, and not that real players actually do that too much. You know, they might travel like 2 people together, but that's about it. The main counters for this, as far as I can tell, are going to continue to be the typical Aegis and Eclipse, which is very unfortunate. I was really hoping for this thing to kind of introduce something a little bit new, to at least encourage the use of even just more Panther, as opposed to only Aegis. But yeah, nah, this thing doesn't go through Aegis Shield, but it does go through Panther Shield, which makes Panther even worse than it already is, of course. Which is sad to see, but it is what it is. Of course, this is Skyship, and I'm just chilling in. Now, in most cases, this is my first time using each weapon. I did kind of try to keep it as genuine as possible. So I can get, you know, my first reaction to each one. But, you know, as is typical, there's a learning curve to a lot of things, so... Just because it's not good right off the bat does not mean that it's not good overall. So it's hard to say. And, of course, once again, I'd like to mention, this is against bots with a mech that I could only imagine is specifically detrimental to bots. I'm actually going to use this opportunity to not be where this guy is. Aha! Of course, I already mentioned 2v2, but I imagine this thing would also do pretty well in 5v5, just because you can keep your distance. But I think most people prefer CPC as their game mode of choice, and also it is kind of a mech's rite of passage as to whether or not it's, you know, popularly considered decent. Ah! Alright, so yeah, you know, minigun, chain gun, I don't think there's much surprise. Those don't seem to work very well. I am pretty intrigued about this build, though. Quantum gun with the stasis implant and overheat implant could make for a pretty baller support mech. I'm not gonna lie. You could, like, throw a thing, blind some people, and then just, like, immediately stasis and overheat them for your teammates. That would be honestly kind of sick. The issue right now for me is that I don't have any competent teammates, and yeah, trying to figure it out solo is not quite the way to go. Hopefully this Orion can at least... Please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. I'm actually just gonna throw that one so I can reload. Yeah, okay. I was still marked, so I didn't want to risk exposing myself anyway. We have center. And so now, yeah, you can see there's a bit of a homing thing. No lock-on indicator, though. So it's entirely based on what you can figure out for yourself. But, seems to be pretty much the same as Hemlock, so, which is something I'm very familiar with. So it's fine by me. Is that Redux still there, I wonder? Nerd. I didn't mean it. 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 Oh, I meant it. I meant it. Yeah, get out of here. This is a joke, bro. Oh, there's no chance. There's no. Please, 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 please. There we go. Okay, teammate. Hopefully I can not take damage for the next few seconds. Actually, that wasn't that hard. I was in a good spot. Now that was entirely ineffective, but incredibly fun. So 10 of 10 would recommend. But also, I just want to mention, as a sort of brawler sniper with you know, plenty of uptime for the orbs to take advantage of, I think this might actually be pretty good. In fact, if I were to change something, I would say this probably should have duration, which just gives you a little bit more blinding time for you to kill enemies if you have to. So I will definitely be trying Quantum Gun 16 on this guy in the future. It might be like the one mech that it's actually good on, who knows? Okay, so nade launchers is gonna be very interesting. I have these implants on my build. I think I put duration on here. which just gives me a little bit more time to lob the projectiles over, just because projectile speed's not the fastest, so I do think that extra time would benefit me. Of course, 3 seconds base. Oh, I should probably... Yeah. Helix rack, another indirect. I'm not sure... Ow. Stop. I'm not sure if I think this would be better or worse. I think I do just generally prefer the idea of actually dealing the damage up front. Definitely just be chillin'. But I don't think my ability would really be that useful from here. Oh, maybe I'm wrong though. He just dashed, so I'm gonna give him a second. Yeah, chill out, bro. Yeah, using the corners like that's really nice. You don't have to fully poke yourself out, so long as you know which orb fires first. You already know. It'll come from the left, it'll come from the right, blah blah blah. And you can, you know, avoid some unnecessary exposure that way. Yay. Always nice to see a little bit of extra mechanics thrown in there. Cool. I hate to see Helix working, honestly, just because it's Helix, but hey. It is what it is. I probably shouldn't be surprised. Yeah, keep blinded, fool. But of course, I have to keep reminding myself that people are having, like, an actual seizure on the other end. Which is terrifying to think about. I hope that bots never get this. I don't ever want to fight this thing. I think it'll be hilarious, and I'm excited to add emotional damage mech number 4 to my hanger. But this is the kind of emotional damage that I don't think I could take too much of myself. Well, that was entirely unnecessary. Oh, he did. Hooray! It is Helix, so I should have expected as much. Don't really even need an ability to use Helix. Is it a good Helix platform? Honestly, not that bad. Good energy capacity, so you don't have to upgrade it. The ability doesn't change when you rank it up. It's just an effect, so you know what you get is what you get. I feel like the only thing that really happens when you rank it up is just the HP and energy capacity. The energy capacity starts pretty high, so you could equip some decent Helix, possibly mortars. The HP doesn't really matter. If you're chilling in the back, then ideally you wouldn't really get hit anyway, and a really weak camper build is actually kind of nice, because that means if anyone applies even a little bit too much pressure, then you end up dying, and you get to spawn into something that's a bit more aggressive and can actually, take things that you need to take. The speed, though, is also what I'm looking at. 20 kph is nice. Camper mechs don't often have to move, but when they do, they have to move rather quickly. So you don't want something that's slow. A brick house just doesn't really cut it with like Helix Rack or something. So this 20 kph is pretty solid. Embergun 12's on here. Here's my build. Just let it be known that I am fully aware this is a terrible idea. And no, I have not tried this before. Probably this will be the first of like 7 attempts. Because there's 0 chance that this ends well for me. But yeah. It could be fun. Support mechs, as is typical, which I kind of enjoy. Ow. Support mechs are not typically must-haves, which is nice. It's the sort of thing that, you know, if you're playing well in a well-communicating team, you got teammates that know what they're doing, you can, you know, pull off some crazy things, but it's not the sort of thing that you need to have to be competitive. And I'm going to make an assumption here that this is more or less what Solis will turn into. It's a nice alternative. It might sound really annoying, but, you know, so does Hemlock. It's just that in practice, certain things are not as great as they are in theory, particularly ones that aren't very good in solo play. Orion being the best solo support mech. But even Orion, it's not the sort of thing that, you know, everyone brings in, even in team matches. So I would have to say that I'm not expecting this to be a top 5 mech. I'm not expecting it to be a top 10 mech. I'm expecting this to just be another option, similar to Hemlock. Possibly slightly worse than Hemlock, but who knows. Ow! And part of the reason is exactly that. You will just immediately die to basically anything. So any moment that you exist unprotected, you're probably screwed. You really need teammates who are dedicated to protecting you, at which point I'm not even really sure if it's worth it. As well as a certain little fact that's very important in that regard, but I'm going to leave that for Century's video to explain. I know everyone has been hoping and waiting for a healer support mech, which, you know, this is not it. It is not a healer, and that brings me great sadness. But I think it is a fun support mech. And the 2 charges adds a little bit of a unique mechanic, which makes for some slightly different opportunities than Hemlock, for sure, which is kind of nice. They both kind of serve their purpose, though. Hemlock's is much, much longer. I do feel the need to point out that I have tested and know you absolutely cannot get a perma-blind on someone, which is great. The minimum amount of time between being blinded would be 1.7 seconds if, you know, I had a max cooldown and a max duration on this thing. But, you know, you throw in a second one and you get flashbangs for days. So who knows, you know, maybe this mech makes the game, like, legitimately unplayable if you just exist with 2 of them. Or maybe it's just so weak that its ability can't carry it. It's very hard to say. I haven't used it against players still. I haven't had other players use it against me, more importantly. And it is still new, so, you know, limited experience. I don't want to jump the gun, but I'm just going to give my general prediction, and that is that it's just another nice support. Most of the supports kind of fall into the same category of it's nice, but you're not going to have any more than, like, 1 on a team. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think about this mech in the comments. I think it is very interesting. But yeah, that is going to be it for me. Appreciate y'all, and Flashbang out.